I'm Joel Dewberry, and I'm a FreeSpirit. My newest FreeSpirit fabric collection is called Atrium. And for me, Atrium was an exploration in design and capturing a moment or a place that I would want to be. In the context of Atrium, which is an indoor garden space, I wanted to recreate what would be the perfect kind of indoor setting. And everything from light to color to what you might see in that space and recreate it in context of the collection. And so as you look at the different prints in Atrium, I have things like a focused floral of the monarch print that would be kind of the focal point of that garden space. You know, indoor space is oftentimes a little bit more formal. In contrast to that, smaller prints, what I call deco bloom, would focus on an ornamental flower that in this case would have a beautiful pattern. And this is one of the patterns that had a little bit more of a modern flair to it. Another element I'd point out in terms of Atrium would be some of the architectural components of what you might envision would be in that space, an arbor. And in context of creating projects with fabric, it becomes a nice geometric print to add some rhythm and pacing, depending on whether you're creating an apparel piece or quilting. Lastly, kind of more of a novelty print, and in my mind's eye, it was if you were to look up through, say, a glass ceiling in your atrium space, I call this cumulus, and it's somewhat modern aesthetic of what clouds could look like. And again, just adds a little bit more of a playful, whimsical element to the collection. Atrium as a collection I have launched with two different colorways, mint, which is this, and then fuchsia, which picks up on slightly more vibrant, popping colors, pinks as well as golds. And what you'll find is the Atrium color palettes complement some of my older collections in terms of color. You may recognize the aqua coming out really strongly in this collection, and my earlier designs and those that are more timeless have a lot of that in it. Then also just the general saturated nature of this color line within Atrium complements many of my other collections and some of those that are coming out in the future as well. In my design collections, I really like to provide anyone who's using them everything they need, whether it's a quilting project or an apparel piece where you want some subtle contrast, a little bit of interest and variety and flavor. And even as it relates to solids, for example, in this collection, in the fuchsia color line, this is what I'd call more or less a solid. It has a little bit of texture, but it's simple in its design, but it's not just flat. And I think that really complements a project or when you're putting something together, not just to have that flatness. This print as well, which is called needlepoint, also offers that same kind of, it's monotone, there's a subtle texture to it. And then when you start to complement these with some of the larger prints that have the same coordinating colors, it adds a nice depth that allows them to work together quite nicely. And this becomes particularly important when someone's quilting with these. I love designing the Atrium fabric collection because it was a way to reflect a really choice moment or opportunity to be surrounded by, even in a controlled setting, nature, kind of from the indoors looking out. And in particular, it has such a beautiful pop and kind of a hipness to it. And so we're really excited to see what sewists and quilters will do with this as it's released, and can't wait to watch and follow the projects that get created.